folks. Thanks for continuing to join us today. And actually, I'm really excited to be here because I get to connect with a good friend of mine. Srini, I've worked with you and your teams quite a bit over the years in different capacities, starting as an Outpost SA and now currently in my current role. Would you mind taking a second to introduce yourself, please?
Thanks, Adrian. I'm Srini Venkatraman. I'm the General Manager for Hybrid Edge Storage here at AWS, and I'm excited to talk about storage at the edge in today's session.
Yeah, this is really, really important. And yeah, as you can see on the screen, title is slide. The sorry session is called AWS Hybrid Cloud Storage and Edge Compute, exactly where you need it. So the important thing here is, Srini, can you really help us understand how you think of the edge and why it's so important to customers?
Sure, Adrian. Extending AWS infrastructure from the cloud to the edge is about compute and a lot about data. As you know, massive amounts of new data is being generated at the edge, powered by technologies such as IoT, 5G, AL, AI, and ML. And by extending AWS infrastructure and services to the edge, what we're really doing here is enabling customers to run applications that create and consume that data locally. We do that with AWS local zones for Metro Edge. We have AWS Outposts for on-premises location, and we have AWS Snowball for remote disconnected environment and even space. And this is what we really mean by AWS wherever customer needs it. And one important aspect of this is consistent experience. Customers would like to use the same set of API, tools, services, and infrastructure in the continuum that starts from region all the way to the far edge. It enables them to operate seamlessly across these different environments because they don't have to change their applications to use different set of APIs in each of these locations. And that's why consistent experience is very important for the object storage services that we support today, namely Amazon S3 on Outposts and Amazon S3 compatible storage on Snow.
Now, I got to admit, in all of my time working with the Outpost and effectively just say AWS at the edge, I've worked on some cool use cases, but I've never worked on anything in space. And of course, as we all know, putting customers first is paramount to how we deliver here at AWS. Can you share a little bit about how it is that you're able to enable customers at the edge with AWS Edge Storage?
Absolutely. I'll talk about three hybrid storage services that we support today. For workloads that require access to cloud data, we have S3 File Gateway. With File Gateway, customers can really run file-based applications using NFS and SMB protocols and store their data durably and securely as S3 objects in the region, while at the same time, they get the benefit of low latency access to cache data. Customers can deploy S3 File Gateway in two ways. They can download a VM and use their virtualized environment to deploy them on premises, or they can order a hardware appliance which comes with File Gateway software integrated. And for applications that require local object storage, we have two services, S3 on Outposts and S3 compatible storage on Snow. Both offer durable, fault-tolerant object storage and really enable customers to store and retrieve objects locally. And with these set of services, we enable enable different set of use cases. Outpost is really for on-prem locations with connectivity to the region, while S3 for compatible storage and Snow is for disconnected use cases.
Thanks for helping us clear that up. And I got to admit, this is really exciting. And through the session, it's becoming increasingly evident that it's all about the data, the gravity of the data at the edge, and how important it is to be sure that you architect for success. Now, can you help me understand some of the typical use cases that you're starting to see?
Absolutely. There are really three use cases that drive the services at the edge. First one is low latency. Second was data residency. And third one is local data processing. For low latency use cases, we have applications that require access to data that's generated in bandwidth constrained environments or really latency sensitive applications. Think about delivering a really high quality gaming experience for multiplayer gaming scenario. That really requires applications to be running at the edge. And for the second use case, data residency, we see that data sometimes needs to reside locally in a country, in a state, or even municipality for compliance or data regulatory or even security reasons. And this is one of the areas where S3 on Outposts comes into play because customers can store data locally for those use cases. And beyond that, we see it also data pipeline use cases with S3 File Gateway. This is when sometimes data is generated locally at the edge and they're moved to the cloud for further data processing. And once the processed data is available, it can be given to consumers, which are also applications running in the region, or sometimes on-prem customers. And I'll give you an example for customer, Exact Sciences,
Okay.
who really use S3 File Gateway to capture their NGS data from their Illumina sequencers. They move this data to the region for further processing. And once that data is available, it's given to consumers, other applications in the region, and sometimes made available to researchers on-prem who require access to the same data using S3 File Gateway.
That's amazing. And if I may, each one of these things that you touched on has a little bit of an impact for me in different ways. The first thing you mentioned, low latency application. Gotta admit, I'm a gamer. And the number of times I've been caught peaking because somebody had a better connection, it's pretty high, and it's led to some pretty admittedly frustrating experiences. Data residency requirements is huge, especially in the era of GDPR, especially in the era of data sovereignty. This is such a huge focus for us right now. And then, of course, processing data locally. I remember speaking with your teams a while back about a particular use case where almost exactly what you just mentioned. The customer wanted to do inference at the edge. They wanted to do learning and training inside of AWS, and then whatever spit out, they wanted to distribute it out to people that were subscribing to that output and making use of it. And it sounds like you may have solved for that. Is that about accurate?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear more about it. And additionally, anything else you might be excited about coming up?
Well, we are excited about the launches we've had this year. Amazon S3 compatible storage for Snow really offers durable storage for mobile, disconnected DDIL environments. Customers can really order up to 500 terabytes of object storage with a Snowball Edge device cluster of 16 devices. This use case is really for local data processing. Customers can now really run ML workloads and analytics locally on Snowball devices. We're also excited about the launch of S3 replication on Outposts. Customers can configure S3 on Outposts now to actually automatically replicate objects between outposts and within outposts. And as you know, this is quite important because S3 on Outposts is for data residency use cases, and customers cannot really move that data to the region. And this enables them to have another layer of data protection for their data.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't count the number of conversations I've had with customers over the years that said exactly what you mentioned. I need to be able to replicate from outpost A to outpost B, but I can't go to region to, and that it's effectively going to negate data residency. And this is a lot more elegant of a way to do it than maybe set up rsync and maybe try to capture it. But it sounds like we went that extra step by listening to our customers and helped solve the problem for them. Is there anything else that you might want to leave us with before we go?
This has been a great thing. Thank you for having me here, Adrian.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, Srini. And thank you so much for your time today. And out of curiosity, where can customers go to learn a bit more if this has piqued their interest?
You can scan the QR code here for more information.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Srini. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Please stay tuned. We've got a lot more awesome stuff for you.